UK Pro Bs once again. Remember, subscribe, and I'm delighted to be joined by the heavyweight banger from Sweden, residing now in New York, Otto Wallin. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you know what? It's been quite a while. I think I saw you a year ago in the media room for Wilder versus Fury, but at the time there was so much chaos going on, I didn't get a chance to, get an interview with you. But hey, it's the first time for everything. And yeah, how you been anyway since then?
I've been pretty good. I got hit by COVID in March there, shortly after we were out there in Vegas. But it was not bad at all for me. It was just like a light flu. So I just had a light fever and I was coughing and sneezing a little bit and lost my senses. But more than that, no, not really. My mom, she had a tougher version. She had like a bad flu and high fever and stuff. So it was tougher for her and her boyfriend, but they made it through all right. So they're doing good now. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, it was kind of ironic that we witnessed such a big fight that night in Las Vegas, and shortly after the world was going to change entirely.
Yeah.
I mean, the event itself, what do you remember of Tyson Fury pulling off a memorable win against Deontay Wilder?
I mean, he did a great job. It was, it was beautiful. He took Wilder apart and did what he said that he was going to do, that come in there and knock him out. I mean, I felt like he always says that, so I'm not sure that's going to happen, but he really did it. He did a great job and, showed that he's the best heavyweight out there right now.
Okay. Now, you say that, obviously, Fury was saying he was going to knock him out, and no one was really quite too sure. You felt the power of Fury. What is it like for you? Is it official?
Yeah, I mean, he's a big guy, so it is official, of course. He's a big guy and a smart fighter. He's a great boxer, Fury. I don't see him as a puncher, but, he showed with Wilder that he can punch and take anybody out if he hits you the right spot. And so I think that Fury, first and foremost, he's a great boxer. Maybe not a puncher so much, but he's a big guy and he has heavy shots. So you always got to be careful at that level and when people are that big. So if you hit to the right spot, he can take you out.
Just a year prior, I mean, you was in there with Fury yourself and you gave a real good account of yourself. I think everyone was saying that Otto Wallin did really, really well that night. Have you watched it back?
I watched it back, yeah. And always like to watch the first part more, because then the second half of the fight, he took over more and that made a difference. Had him came out strong there the first 6 rounds and had him cut pretty bad in 2 spots on his eyes. So I felt personally that they should have stopped the fight because of the cut, but it is boxing and he was the top guy and he fought like a champion too and he didn't want to quit. So he deserves respect for that.
It's interesting because I'm seeing for a while now, I've been seeing boxing fans in the forums talking about your performance, saying that, look, you showed the way. Fury, yes, he's a high-class fighter, but Otto Wallin may have exposed some weaknesses. Do you feel it's that way?
Maybe. I think that we had a good game plan. And, when you fight him, he likes to dance and, showboat and grab the ropes and like have his hands behind his back and stuff. And you can't let him do that. You got to be aggressive with him and take that away, because he's a good fighter, awkward, and he likes that. If you let him get comfortable, he can do it all night and he has to outbox you. So what I was trying to do, I tried to be aggressive with him, hit him to the body as much as the head, and that worked pretty good.
Hey, well, obviously, look, there's big talk of the undisputed fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Are those kind of words of advice that you'd give to Anthony Joshua against Tyson Fury? Do what I did to replicate the formula of success somewhat.
I think first and foremost, Joshua, he has gotta be himself. I'm fighting Brazil now, so I'm watching Brazil and Joshua, that fight, and to me, he looks great in that fight, and he looks confident, secure. He knows who he is, but I feel somehow he's got away from it a little bit, and I think he's trying to explore more sides of himself. But he's got to remember who he is, and he's got a good trainer with McCracken, and they had a really good run, and he's taken him to this point. So I think that they have a good thing going, and I think that Joshua, just try to be himself, find that aggressive style that he has, and try to lay it on Fury. Because with Fury, you gotta be honest too. It's a boxing match, and you know that you're gonna get hit. So, be fine with it. You might have to take a couple punches to give one, but you got to do something, and you can't just let Fury be confident and stay on the outside. So I think Joshua got to make it a fight.
And who for you will win that undisputed fight?
I think that Joshua is always going to be dangerous. He's a bigger puncher, and Joshua is a really good fighter. I think that Fury and him are the best two heavyweights in the world right now. But I do think that Fury has more momentum, and he's got a good head. He is confident, and he know who he is, and he's a smart guy. So I would favor Fury just because I feel like he's got good momentum coming into it, and good confidence.
All right. So obviously, look, you're just over a week towards fighting Dominic Breazeale. You mentioned that you watched him fighting Anthony Joshua. I mean, what did you take for that for yourself? What do you take from that fight for yourself?
Looking at Breazeale, I know that he's a tough guy, a big guy, and with Joshua, he pretty much took a beating for 7 or 8 rounds. And Joshua did a great job in that fight. I think that Breazeale, like I said, tough guy. He comes forward, try to bully you a little bit, and that's how I expect him to fight me. And so we're ready for that. And I'm a smart guy. I got good basics, good offense, good defense. So I think that I have all the tools to handle him.
He's been largely inactive, he hasn't fought for a couple of years. You've been more active with the fighters. Is that going to put you in good stead against Breazeale?
Yeah, I've been able to be more active, even though I would have liked to fight a lot more than I had. But I've had at least 2 fights, the Fury fight, and fought Travis Kaufman in August last year. So at least 2 fights while he's been inactive. And he was knocked out with Wilder his last fight. So,
yes.
I'm sure that's in the back of his mind, and it's not fun to get knocked out. So I think that also I'm 30, but I feel younger than that. He's 35, I think, and he's been having tough fights in his career. He's been dropped and knocked out twice. And so I think that he's taken a lot of more punishment than I have. And I'm fresh, coming up now, and I feel like I'm just coming into my own. So just like Fury, I got good momentum coming into this fight, and I feel like it's a good fight for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think a lot of people will say, look, Otto Wallin, you kind of announced yourself in a good way, a few years ago. And Dominic Breazeale is that step up as well, in terms of, your last fight. So are you aiming to go out there and put in a statement like Deontay Wilder did to Dominic Breazeale?
Yeah, I think that first and foremost, I got to go out there and get the win. I can't look past him, and I can't just go in there and look for a knockout. I got to be smart, because I know that Breazeale, he is dangerous and he can punch. And I think that he actually hurt Wilder a little bit before he was knocked out himself. So I know that he's dangerous, and he's dangerous when he's hurt. So I feel like I got to go out there, be smart, and break him down, and then take him out.
Obviously, look, we've got the 2 top, fighters, Joshua and Fury. In terms of undisputed, the guys are right at the top, but there's a big pack just below them. Where do you kind of see yourself, with the Joe Joyces, etc., Usyks? Where do you see yourself in the mix?
I think I'm up there, and I think most important for me is that I get the win here with Breazeale to solidify my spot there, and then just keep that momentum, keep working, and keep winning, to show people that I am good, and that what happened with Fury was not just a fluke. Because I think that's what most people know about me now, is that I had a good fight with Fury, but I lost. So now I want to go out there, beat a good name in Breazeale, and show that I'm for real, and solidify my spot there, and take it from there.
In some ways, you think that's going to take away that sort of surprise factor that you had in your fight against Tyson Fury? People know what you're about now, so it might be a little bit more difficult for you.
Maybe. I'm not sure, but there's more tape out there on me now since I fought Fury. So, I mean, people didn't really know about me before that, but I'm sure they know now that I can do something. So, you know, see what comes out there after this fight.
And I suppose you want to kind of obviously put yourself up there, you know, with you know, another Swedish champion in Badu Jack as well, you know, in your own right as well, kind of represent for Sweden and become a world champion yourself.
Yes, that means a lot for me. Badu has been a great champion, and I would like to follow his footsteps. He's also here in the US and doing great, and two weight division world champion. So that's great. He shows that it's possible, and I would like to replicate that. Also, I don't know if you remember Ingmar Johansson. He was heavyweight champion, the only heavyweight champion coming out of Sweden. I had his nephew reach out to me the other day on Instagram, so that was nice. He wished me good luck and stuff, so that was cool.
Look, good thing coming out of Sweden. I mean, even Zlatan's still doing it at AC Milan as well. Ibrahimovic.
Yeah. I mean, Zlatan is gonna be 40 soon. So I mean, if he can go that strong at 40, I would have 10 more years. So that's good to know.
Excellent. Just before we kind of go, I mean, what's your kind of take on the whole Wallin and Breazeale feud at the moment? Obviously, Breazeale broke his silence from a year ago.
Yeah, I think it's terrible. I think it's rubbish. I mean, Breazeale, he hasn't done anything bad. He stopped the fight because he saw where the fight was going. He's got experience in boxing, probably more than the other trainers. And sometimes you got to save the fighter from himself. And he was getting knocked out. He was going to get hurt in there with Fury. And he looked terrible. And I mean, it was just a matter of time until the fight was going to get stopped. So I felt like Breazeale helped him. And then he comes out with all these different excuses that his costume and Breazeale spiked his water and stuff. I mean, that's crazy to me. I feel sorry for Breazeale, but hopefully people know that I'm sure he didn't do anything wrong, and I don't think any of the allegations against Fury either is true. So, you know, it is what it is. He lost. He should take it as a man and just come back and get back in there, try to beat Fury the next time.
I believe Mark Breazeale, he mentioned that there was no cut man in the corner for that fight. And just kind of, you know, thinking back to your fight with Fury, if Fury had no cut man, right?
Yeah.
On that night, wow.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, stuff like that. I don't know. You know, Mark Breazeale, like I said, he probably has the most experience in that team. And he saw where the fight was going, and stuff like that just makes you wonder, like, why would you not have a cutman in there? Strange to me. So I don't know. I mean, sometimes, you know, when you're at that level, you got that knockout power like he has, something, you know, not very common. I mean, he's one of the biggest punchers out there, and it might take your head in a different place. And you know that you can be losing fights, but as long as you hit them with one shot, it's over. So that's probably been working really good for Wilder, but at the same time, it might have hurt him a little bit.
Is that someone you fancy getting in the ring with, Deontay Wilder?
Yeah, he's one of the, to me, he's one of the big three. You know, he's been world champion for a long time, so see what happens now, but that would be a big fight for me.
All right, brilliant, man. Otto, man, we've got to wish you well out in New York, and we look forward to your fight next weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Otto Wallin, Pro Bees, Pep Talk UK. Thank you. Subscribe. Thank you.